Kurt proves he can still hang with his younger bro. Hey there, welcome to the Kobalt Tools 500 recap. I'm Lauren Shehadi. With the emergence of Kyle Busch over the past 2 seasons, older brother Kurt quickly has become an afterthought. But at Atlanta, the 30-year-old pulled away from Jeff Gordon late to capture his first win of 2009, matching last season's win total. He led for 234 laps out of the 330 total, a dominating performance for the Penske driver. This follows a Truck Series victory by little brother Kyle on Friday. Talk about having racing in your blood. The future is still very bright for the Busch boys. We bring in Pete Pistone now. His future is very bright. He gets to answer all our questions. Pete, the Busch boys dominated the weekend with Kurt stealing the headlines. He's on a bit of a comeback trail from the tail end of last season. What's been the difference?
Well, I think one of the big differences is the fact that Dodge has this new engine, Lauren. They have been kind of behind the 8 ball for the last year or so, and since the new engine came on board, a lot more horsepower for all the Dodge teams. And I think, as you pointed out, Kurt and that crew, Pat Trice and his crew chief, really started to come on at the end of last year. I think they brought that momentum into 2009. They had a nice run at the Daytona 500, and getting to victory lane this past week, I think, is something that a lot of us expected to happen, and I think we're going to see that 2-car roll into victory lane a few more times before this year is all said and done.
All right, behind the 8 ball no longer. Sunday's race went into overtime in a green-white checkered finish, with Busch having to come back and pass Carl Edwards on the second to the last lap for the win. Did Edwards make a mistake, Pete, by only taking 2 tires in his final pit stop?
I think that was the only move he had, Lauren. I mean, he tried to get track position and get in front, and by spending that much time on pit road, only taking 2 tires, was really the only thing that they could do. But I think Kyle knew that without the 4 fresh pieces of rubber that Kurt Busch had and how powerful that 2-car was all day, he was basically going to be a sitting duck. Carl's won there before, and he knows how to get around that racetrack on old tires, but he just wasn't able to turn it on Sunday. But I think when we go back there in the fall, I think Carl Edwards will definitely be one of those guys that will run up front again.
What about one of those guys like Jeff Gordon? He inched a few more points ahead in the Sprint Cup standings. He didn't win again Sunday, but he's knocking on the door, Pete. When is he going to knock down the door?
You know, we're going to a couple of tracks coming up. You know, we've got a nice off weekend this week, and then we go to Bristol and to Martinsville. And those are racetracks where if you look down the past winners list, Lauren, Jeff Gordon's name comes up a lot. And as you said, he has been resurgent this year. Another runner-up finish. He sits on top of the point standings again for the second straight week. A lot of momentum, a lot of confidence with that 24 team. I know he's looking forward to taking this weekend off, and then we go short track racing at the end of March. That, to me, is going to be the time I think you're going to see Jeff Gordon finally get back to victory lane. It's been 45 races now since he's won last. I think that's about to end.
All right, Pete, let's talk about a guy like Tony Stewart. He's 6th in points. That was his 3rd 8th place finish of the season. When are we going to see a win from him?
I think Tony's very close. And, you know, you got to say that you look at that team, and to start the year with top 10 finishes, I think is exactly what Tony wanted to do. 8th place 3 times out of the first 4, pretty good. And now I think you bring that momentum again with him. One of the things I think that really has been a key with that team too, Lauren, and I think a thing you got to look at as a positive is they've done it on intermediate-sized tracks, which Tony in the past has said that's really not his strong suit. So if you can do it at places like Fontana and Vegas, when you start getting to, again, these short tracks like Bristol and Martinsville, racetracks where we've seen Tony Stewart run so well in the past, again, I think that could only mean that that 14 car is someone we're going to see also knocking on that door for victory lane pretty soon.
All right, it could mean good things. A good thing for you, you have a weekend off. What are you going to do, watch basketball?
I'm going to sit and watch March Madness before we pick up the March Motor Madness for NASCAR in a couple of weeks in Bristol.
Well, good for you, Pete. Thank you, and thank you for watching everything NASCAR on the site. We'll see you soon.